Hello, business building warrior. Welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio. I'm going to be your host today. I'll be bringing on a guest very soon. As we do for most of our podcast episodes, we love to bring on the students who are building beautiful businesses using the strategies we teach on this podcast. That's right. Most of the episodes are interviews and conversations with people who are building beautiful businesses using the strategies from our flagship training course, Proven Amazon Course. I actually read a complaint that someone had about this show not too long ago online. They said, yeah, the show is just a parade of people who are using their content to build great businesses. Like, yeah, that's pretty cool, I would think. I mean, do you want the same host talking every day about theory and never applying it to other people's lives and businesses successfully? No, I think that's kind of boring. If I'm going to have a business podcast that talks about training people how to build great businesses, shouldn't we have a lot of people who are building great businesses? I think it's pretty cool that we have that. And matter of fact, we've got hundreds of episodes just like that. As we approach 900 episodes of this show, I'm proud of the fact that it's a parade of people with lots of great ideas to share, strategies, insights, and many of them started off knowing absolutely nothing about e-commerce and went on to build great businesses. So that's what we do around here is we share those stories and those very real strategies. My guest today is Andrew Martinez. He's from Canada. He was recently at our conference in May of 2024. We're going to do it again in May of 2025, by the way. Circle these dates, the 29th, 30th, and 31st of May 2025. That's when we're going back to Orlando. We'll have details as the date gets a little closer at theprovenconference.com. So keep an eye on that for sure. And Andrew talks about it today, how big of an impact that had on his business. He's aiming for in 2024 a multiple seven-figure business using REPLENS, which is the system we talk about all the time around here, basically helping Amazon fill the underserved shelf space at Amazon's multiple warehouses. That's the model. That's where we start you. From there, you can grow into branded bundles or wholesale or private label, or maybe even do some consulting. There's all kinds of great opportunities that come your way once you get the basics down. But like I said, Andrew's a great student of the Proven Amazon course. He's building a beautiful business. He's in our coaching program as well. So he's a coaching student and he speaks very highly of the program today. You're going to hear him talk through his timeline of what he's built since about 2017 up till this point. The last couple of years have been significant because he left his job and went full-time on Amazon. In December of 2019 was when he made the leap and really went all in with his business. And he's been doing really well since then, with plenty of struggles and changes and shifts, of course, along the way. But he's adapted. He stayed close to this community, learned a lot of great lessons. And I see him as just another great example of what's possible when you decide that you want to build a real business with the flexibility of working from home, using the greatest opportunity of our lifetimes, I believe, online, especially, which is the Amazon opportunity, which if you didn't know, if you're new around here, Amazon gets about half of all transactions online in the United States every day. It's a lot of activity. You jump in there and help fill some of that underserved shelf space. That's a big, wide open opportunity that any of us can step into and start to learn how to build a very real business that can turn into something pretty special. If you want to talk to us about that, talk to us about your e-commerce journey, what you're trying to do, maybe it has nothing to do with Amazon. We still want to meet you. We still want to have a conversation with you, let you know what we have to offer around here. You can go anytime to silentjimdotcom/book a call. All three words together, book a call. Get on our schedule. Let's have a free half-hour consultation with someone that I love, trust, respect, who's been in our organization for a long time, who can give you a good shove in the right direction and tell you what we have to offer around here. Completely free, no obligation. It's not a high-pressure conversation at all. But we are going to tell you what we've got, what we can do, and tell you that we're here to help you out. All kinds of great free resources as well at that link. Our free Facebook group, which just passed 76,000 members, thanks to you spreading the word. That's the way that we grow around here, is people telling each other about our podcast, our free Facebook group. There's a link to all that at silentjim.com, as well as our flagship training course, again, the Proven Amazon course. If you're brand new and you never made any money online, or maybe you've been looking at a bunch of shiny objects and being distracted and trying to piece together something that might work someday, hey, how about you jump into an arena where half of all the transactions all day, every day in the US are happening. Learn how to tap into the lowest risk, lowest learning curve, lowest investment required opportunity we have to offer with the highest odds of success. That's the proven Amazon course training, the basic level training that everyone gets when you start. We'd love to start you there and help you build a beautiful business, as we've done for so many others, including the guest we're about to bring on right now today. The last thing I will share with you is I love this part of his story. I didn't know this about Andrew, but he happens to be one of our final 200 beta testers who are going through what we call around here the system. It's the first time in the reselling history of Amazon, which has been around about 12 years, it's the first time that there's a complete workflow software that handles the entire process of your workflow of the REPLENS model, online arbitrage, retail arbitrage. We're adding on the Walmart features in the near future as well, for those of us who sell in Walmart. But here's the best way to get a feel for what I'm talking about with the system. Okay. Kang, the guy that created it, software development engineer by trade, go back and listen to podcast episode 754 of this show, and you'll get a real good feel for who he is, why he built this software, the fact that he's running a multiple seven-figure business with this software, and all he does is swipe down to check his statistics. He's got 2 guys in his warehouse, 2 virtual assistants, and this software, and that's it. And it runs his whole REPLENS operation, multiple seven-figure, $3 million business. Well, today, when we talked to Andrew, I found out that he's one of our beta testers for this software. We invited 200 people from our coaching community to come on in, and they're loving it. Andrew talks very openly about it today and says it's really streamlining his operation, and he's very excited to grow into his own multiple seven-figure business, which is his goal for this year, as a result of implementing this simple software. I shouldn't say simple software. The software is doing a lot of heavy lifting, but it simplifies the process for you, the business owner, in so many ways. And we talk through some of that as well. So that's enough of an introduction for now. Thank you for hanging out with us. I am truly honored that you chose to spend a little bit of your very valuable time with us, looking for ways to improve your life and your business, to help you expand on Amazon. And we've always got a lot of other lessons mixed in as well, business lessons along the way that will serve you no matter what kind of business you're trying to build. So thank you for hanging out with us. Let's get over and meet Andrew right now. So Andrew, welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio. Good to see you, my friend.
Hi, Jim. It's nice to be here. Thank
Last
you.
time we saw each other in person, it was at the conference here in May of 2024, right? And we'll get
Yes,
into
that's
that maybe a little bit, right? But it's good to see you again. And I can't wait to get into your story if you're ready to go.
yes, I'm ready.
Let's do it.
So, when I got into e-commerce, I started with selling products I found from the thrift stores, and it's I didn't have all the tools at hand at first. I didn't know about Keepa. I didn't know anything really. I was just looking at products with the Amazon app, and I thought, okay, well, with if it had a low rank, then I'll sell it at 3 times what I paid for, and that's basically how I kind of judged it, and
So
made a lot
this
of
was
mistakes
when?
that
What
way.
year would this been approximately?
Oh, this was about 2017. November
Okay.
2017 is when I started the journey.
Okay. So you're 7, 8 years into your e-commerce journey at this point. I got you. All right. Yeah. So we see a lot of people that start that way. Just get the Amazon seller app and scan barcodes and look for stuff that's selling cheaper on a shelf somewhere. And you can definitely get yourself into trouble that way. We're not going to go down that road too far right now. But yeah, I mean, some people start that way and just basically flipping cheap stuff for a little bit more money. Gotcha. All right.
It worked when it worked, and
Sure.
when it didn't, well, it took a while before it didn't. But I did that for about a little over a year, and then moved to the retail store. This was so what we're in 2018 to about 2019. I found the community by then, and I got the pack, and
Okay.
I also got into the Legends group to learn as much as I can, and
Right.
they told me about I believe Keepa. Keepa, I think I was using Camel or whatever they call that app.
Yeah. They were still around back then. Yep.
And then moved to Keepa and started to learn. Okay, there's see the graph, the ranks, the drops, and it helped me make better buying decisions. And
Excellent.
Right, and then I got into selling toys on Amazon, and I did that for about 4 or 5 months, and then I learned about REPLENS at the time. I think they called it REPLENS, or I'm not sure if they called it something else, but um, it was looking at the keepographs and also finding products that you could sell over and over again, or I guess
Right.
that's how it was told.
Right. Yeah, that started in the Legends group, which is I'll stick a link in our show notes today to that. It's kind of a serious business builders who really love this, what they've seen in our community and want to be a part of like that core, a little more intimate setting of it's not thousands of people, it's a few hundred. And that's where the replens concept emerged originally was out of that group. And I'm pretty sure we started calling back in 2018, I think, is when it kind of was birthed. And we've been perfecting and tweaking it since then. But yeah, excellent. So what were kind of numbers were you doing? Were you working full time and doing e-commerce, or were what was the blend back then?
I was working full time job, and also doing e-commerce. It was I was work well, I was doing e-commerce on the weekend, so my Saturday Sunday I would just go to the store and spend a lot of time working on that, and then working, and whatever time I could give, I would give to the business to make it grow. It's definitely a lot to take in when you first start, and it's a process that you just have to overcome this hurdle. Everything just seems like a big challenge. You're hitting against the wall, but you just have to keep pushing through that. And some of it was, well, not just sourcing the products, but also just figuring out how to send it into the Amazon warehouse. How does Amazon receive it? What is it? What does that look like? How do I know if it was received? What does it look like on the Amazon website, and also how to manage your Amazon account, the all the little things like the account health and your IPI score, and um,
Yeah, all those little details that come along with it.
yes,
Right. Right. Okay. So I want to hit this. We maybe should have mentioned this before, but you're in Canada, and I actually don't know the answer to this. Are you selling primarily in Canada or primarily in the US? Both
I'm selling primarily in Canada now, but I started selling in the US. So the
recently?
lot, no, I started with selling the US, and
That's what you
then
started with.
that's where I
Okay.
started. Then pivoted to Canada
Okay.
about 2 3 years into my journey. There
Okay.
was changes that took place, like changes with the border, and then I had to adapt. And I thought, okay, well, let me work in my local area and see how that would work. And it actually did a lot better. There was less paperwork, and everything just went more smoother. There were a lot of lessons learned by exporting products,
Hmm.
which is a bit complicated, but I still take that with me, and it's one of my advantages of moving products into the US.
So you've
When
done a little bit
I
of both, but you're primarily Canada at this point.
primarily Canada.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. And the system works just as well there as in the US from what I'm hearing from a lot of Canadians, the replens model. And so, yeah, a couple different tools maybe that you need in the mix that may or may not keep it works the same in Canada though, right? So,
It does. The
yep.
graphs look slightly different.
Hmm.
So I guess you'd have to adjust your parameters, but I guess generally when you sell in the US, you're looking for a keeper graph with 30 drops, and it has well, I mean, you can do your profit analysis on that, and but for Canada, the keep a graph, sometimes even just 2 drops is enough to consider a test, which is
Hmm.
different, right? But
Yeah.
the margins are a lot higher in Canada.
Right. Right. We have some Americans selling in Canada. We've got some content coming along those lines for proven Amazon course students, helping them. And there's some legal things you have to be aware of, and it can be somewhat complex. But for those willing to go through the steps in the process, it can be very lucrative for sure to be able to sell in both. But yeah, Canada and the UK are the only two areas I should say where we tell students you're just as well off selling from home when you start selling at home versus trying to establish yourself in the US. Pretty much any other country that people are from, we say, "Yeah, I know you may have Amazon there, you may not, kind of irrelevant. You need to start by selling in the US. Use a prep center, find your inventory online." That's how we get established. And actually, one of the podcast episodes I have coming up is another international, non-US based student who's actually a coach on our team, who's doing really well from Slovakia, where they don't have Amazon, but he's built a beautiful business and a beautiful team, and he sells in the US from Slovakia without ever seeing his inventory. So, that's how that business has to be done. Just as a little side education note for those who may not have been aware of those things. But I'll stick a link to our Prep Center network in the show notes as well, so people can see how they can do this business without touching their inventory, have other people do that for them. But keep the story going, man. So you're doing some thrifting, then you got into the REPLENS model, started scaling that, and keep us going.
Yeah. So after moving to the retail model, a lot of it was just uh, building my replens list of products, and just something clicked in. I could figure out the prices, and there's almost just by looking at a product, I was just like, okay, I'm gonna buy that one because or pick it up first and look at the graph, like, oh, sure enough, it's a winner right away. And I was just almost just buying products and just going with the flow, and I scaled pretty quickly. Um, by the end of 2019, so this is December, I was able to leave my job and do Amazon full time. My
Cool.
sales went from, so those 2 years, right? The annual sales, I think, for the first year was about only 5,000. The second year was about double, and for the next year, it was we were hitting an average about 30,000 a month.
Nice. Okay, so that's 2019. You're hitting about $30,000 a month. You jumped full time. What'd you do before e-commerce? I'm curious.
Oh, I worked at a casino full time. I was a card dealer, blackjack dealer.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing. You're a blackjack dealer. That's nuts. So you got a skill set with a deck of cards, huh? That's amazing. All right. Wow.
Yeah,
But you
for
made more
sure.
money. You were making more money selling in e-commerce online than that. So you made the leap, huh?
Yes,
That's
I
great.
did.
That's great. So okay, so you quit your job, you go full time. That this gets us up to 2020, January of 2020. The world's about to go crazy, right? With COVID.
Right.
So how's the business do that year?
So for that whole year, our sales, we were averaging about, uh, well, I would say annually it was about 750,000. So it was a good year for sales for
Hmm.
sure.
Hmm.
Um, and there was just a lot of things I guess learned, and I had to improve on my own systems. How I did a lot of the stuff was through, I guess, just Excel, so spreadsheets, and I didn't have a whole lot of complicated software. I did dabble with inventory labs, but didn't really. I only used it for, looking for inventory. I didn't really use any of the other features,
Hmm.
and uh, there was just many things I had to change. I didn't have a repricer at the time, so I needed a repricer. Made another mistake there where I didn't really configure it properly, and a lot of my products just kind of sold so quickly, but they sold for a loss.
Right. A repricer out of control is a bad thing. Right.
Yeah, and then it was also the just getting my list better for my replens. I think this is before there was even a business reports section in Amazon. There was just the fulfillment reports from what I remember. So we didn't have an easy to download list of products that was sold in the last 30 days. So I had to create a way to get that data. And I found a software that would connect from Amazon's uh, reports into Google Sheets, and I kind of created my own workflow through that, and
You, you knew
that
when
did
it was
pretty
time
well.
to reorder.
Yes, I knew when it was time to read, or had all the information set out, where how much to pay for it, where to buy it from, and how many sold that month, what is the current buy box, and all the information you would need to make a purchasing decision. Um,
Beautiful. Yeah. So you kind of Frankenstein together your own system, which is what a lot of people have done
mhm.
up until quite recently. I'm pretty excited. We got 200 people, as you well know. I think, are you one of them? Are you in the system beta group?
I am in the
Yeah.
group.
So I mean, we didn't talk beforehand. And for those who don't know what we're talking about, you can go to silentjimdotcom/the system and see that's Kang's complete workflow system for replens. So are you starting to integrate that, seeing the potential there? Or are you just kind of kicking it around still? Where are you at in that process?
So I've gone through the beginning to end, and I'm just going through that cycle of the whole workflow, and I'm really impressed by it. There's just so many benefits from it, and it makes sense to use the software over spreadsheets.
Hmm.
One of the challenges I've had just having an inventory workflow on the spreadsheets is the consolidating buy lists, just having a record of what I need to buy from the prior week
Hmm.
combined with this week, and it's time consuming. But in the system, you have easy to read lists that you can also filter out, and you can purchase from those products. And you can also use, I think one of the best features is the restock feature, because now you
Yes.
can go back, see the products that have sold, set how much you want to make, and you can just buy it based on that list. So you can have products that you've just made a note of, and you can go through it and say, okay, well, now how much money do I want to make today? Let's pull up that list, and let's put it out, and purchase those products.
Yeah, I love the way Kang processes this business, and for those who don't know what we're talking about, yeah, go back and listen to podcast episode 754, and that'll get you up to speed. Or go to this website silentjim.com/the system, and you'll get up to speed really quickly. But going off what you just said, Andrew, the way Kang thinks about it is, I decide how much money I want to make by deciding how much money I want to put in. So how much ever I put in, that's how many ASINs we've got, because at any given time he's got far more ASINs than he could ever possibly buy. So you kind of it's a reverse way. Instead of scrambling trying to find something profitable, his job is now reduced to how much funding do I want to put into this machine that's running profitably, and he just swipes down to check his stats. A couple virtual assistants, a couple people in his warehouse. That workflow system that he's built out really does replace a lot of other processes and tools. And if you're using any spreadsheets at all, you don't need to be. So yeah, beautiful. Well, I didn't even know that you were part of it or what your take was. I had no idea, but I did know we had a couple hundred people in there. It sounded like you were a good candidate. I was going to talk you into it if you weren't in there yet, but it sounds like you're already making your way through putting it through the paces there with our last beta group, and we'll be
I wanted
public.
to add something about that.
Yeah,
So,
please.
not in addition to the restock feature, you don't need a
Yeah,
whole lot of ASINs to even use this system.
you don't.
Even if you have, I mean, even if you have no ASINs, just starting it and using the buy list function by adding products to this list so you can review later,
Yep.
or just the way it's set up with the roles and the account management, you can add VA right away to start looking for leads for you,
Hmm.
and just having that that process there, you can have based on the criteria. I mean, obviously, you need to know how to source products, but but if you understand the process and can train someone, they can work right in there, and that'll
Yeah.
give you a big boost.
It sounds like you're already a big advocate, bigger than I realized for this. And absolutely, we're going to be starting, new coaching students coming in starting about now, as the time this podcast episode comes out or shortly thereafter. We're going to strongly encourage them. It's not going to be expensive software. Just, we're aiming for the $50 or so maximum, and it replaces so many other tools. And there you go. You've got a tool that manages the whole workflow. I think the replens game is getting ready to change significantly for a lot of people who are paying attention. So I'm glad you're an advocate. I'm glad you're enjoying it. And yeah, that shopping feature, assigning the roles. So you got different VAs who don't know what the other VAs are doing. They don't see the rest of your catalog. They only see what they're working on. And my favorite feature of it is, not to nerd out too long because there's a bunch of things going on there, but just how it's constantly monitoring Keepa for changes. And so you can anytime you want, you can update your entire catalog based on the latest Keepa data and see exactly what actions you should take, if you should be tapering away from an ASIN or going deeper into it. If the prices hit a certain alert, it'll let you know. It's beautiful. And like I said, Kang's built a $3 million fully automated replen business up with it. So, and now that he's sharing it with us, I'm pretty excited. So yeah, that's coming down the pike, man. Glad you're in the beta. Yeah,
It's
awesome.
exciting. Lot to learn, and I'm excited to grow and help refine this process, this system.
Yeah, yeah, you're doing a great job from what I hear. Because every time I talk to Kang about the progress, he's like, the people in the group are just amazing. They're helping me shape out new features, and every day they're tweaking it, simplifying it, breaking it down into new functions that make life easier for Amazon sellers. It's going to be a great tool. All right, man. Well, yeah, let's keep the story going. We kind of got off a little bit on automating your replen business with the system. I didn't even know you were doing that. That's super cool. But keep us going. Let's see. So 2020 sounds like it was a pretty good year for you, and we're getting a little closer to modern day, man. Let's keep the concert, or excuse me, keep the why did I say concert? Keep the episode rolling, man.
So we're here at 2021, I
Yeah.
believe. So a lot of lessons learned in 2021, and I guess the best take I can get from it is there are a lot of changes in Amazon.
Mhm.
So around that time they were, I guess, changing how they issue storage for sellers.
Right.
So we really had to adapt and make our systems more efficient and get faster moving inventory. A lot of my inventory was selling within 6 months, but now we had to cut back those ASINs and sell it within 3 months. And even
Yeah.
now, there's still pressure to sell within 30 days.
Hmm.
Amazon is grading you on that IPI score, and you need to
Right.
move your inventory, or you're going to lose your allocated storage.
Right.
So
Right.
2021 has just been a year where I needed to improve my systems, improve how I source for inventory, the types of inventory, and the and just become a better seller. The way that because Amazon, the marketplace that we're selling on is Amazon, so you have to follow their rules. So do the best you can in that arena, and
Yep.
what they say you need to follow.
Yeah. It really, what those kind of changes do is they just eliminate some of your ASINs that if it takes 3 to 4 months to sell this, to sell out, well, you order less. You adjust because that storage space got a little more expensive. Amazon doesn't want stuff sitting around. They want stuff
Mhm.
to come in and go out, which is understandable. Anyone who's ever owned a warehouse agrees. Like, I don't want stuff just coming in here and sitting. No one makes any money when someone's just sitting there, right? So the speed, that real time. So yeah, you don't want to send in 1,000 units if it's going to take you 8 months to sell through it. You want to send in 50 units and get rid of them in a month, and send another 50 next month, right? So there's that logistic challenge there, and the way a lot of us adapted to that is, we just only send in a few units of anything ever. Like, I've told my team, there better be a reason worthy of waking me up at 3 in the morning if you're going to send in 50 units of anything ever. Like, it's just not worth the risk. If something would happen to that ASIN, I you got 48 units sitting in there. What are we going to do now, guys? Someone else just chopped the price in half, or whatever happens. Things happen. So we send it a few at a time, more shipments with more ASINs, just a few at a time, never taking a big hit, winning on virtually everything. If it comes back, we just got a few units we got to get rid of somehow, instead of 50 or 1,000 units. So that's how the game's played in the replans. From my vantage point, everyone's just sending more shipments with slightly smaller quantities to play the game at scale.
Well, you also have to be careful with that too, because once you've sold over, I believe it's 20 units, they have a new fee. So it's the
Low inventory.
low inventory fee.
Yes.
Correct.
Which
So
hasn't been too big of a factor for us at all. Has it been for you?
I'm starting to notice some ASINs I should be topping up more of, just to keep the inventory in. The software I'm using, it wasn't as great, so making the adjustment over to the system was very beneficial for me. So catching those ASINs where I need to top up more of was helped me eliminate that fee in my account.
Beautiful. Pardon the brief interruption, but I want to tell you about a new sponsor who we are very excited to bring on board. They help you buy or sell an Amazon account. Did you know you can do that within Amazon's policy? Completely legitimate. They've helped hundreds of others do these transactions. You can sell your Amazon account if you're done with it. Maybe you haven't used it in a while. You know someone who's got one that they're not using. Tell them about silentjimdotcom/buy or sell. BUYORSELL. Just spell it out like it's one word. silentjimdotcom/buy or sell. If you want to get a head start and get ramped up faster with category approval and some of the other challenges that come with having a new account, you can kind of skip over those. Again, this is Amazon approved transactions. They're going to vet you. The company that you're going to be buying the account from will be vetted as well. And again, we vouch for them because they've helped a whole bunch of people over the years in our community either buy or sell an Amazon account. That account that you have that's just sitting dormant, maybe it's a spare account you're not using any longer, it could be worth some money. So contact them. silentjim.com/buy or sell. Let's get back to the program.
Catching those ASINs where I need to top up more of was helped me eliminate that fee in my my account.
Beautiful. So it sounds like you're using the system. You've integrated it more than I was even thinking. So are you using it to run your business now, or are you still in test mode?
I'm using it to run my US marketplace on Amazon.
Beautiful.
So I'm
Okay.
using that to really integrate that. I wish there was a Canadian version, hopefully soon. But
It'll get
it's
here. Yeah, it's coming, and the Walmart version is coming as well. Yeah, we'll grandfather in all the loyal early users and get you guys a great deal when it comes out, I'm sure. But Kang's working hard on it every day. Yep. But oh, that's awesome. I didn't realize how integrated you were into that. Beautiful. All right. So yeah, that kind of takes us through 2021. The restocking, or sorry, the storage fees kind of impacted how much inventory you send in. You had to get a little better at what it is you're doing. That
Yeah, so I also had to change my the products I would buy. So um, because I couldn't, let it sit there past 3 months, I needed
right.
to look for products that move faster. And
Yep.
if they were slower, I'd have I need to have fewer of those. So more faster moving ASINs, and for the ones that were profitable that would take more time, the time frame window would have to be about 3 months to sell those products. For my products, I think I'm kind of split down the middle. I do half of my catalog is about fast moving ASINs. The other half is slow moving ASINs, which probably are like 1, 2 a month, but they have higher margins to make up for that. And I don't allocate a lot of capital into those products just because there is that risk something may happen to the listing. There's all sorts of things that can happen in the Amazon warehouse.
Yeah. Yeah. I love those slower movers, high margin, above buy box, even. That's a lot of our catalog is the above buy box stuff. You'd love seeing those sales pop through on those. But yeah, I love it. All right. Well, keep it going, man.
We are in what year are we in now?
2022 or, three to, kind of think through those together if you'd like.
Well, during that time, it's just learning and growing through the last couple years is just improving what I'm doing, creating a better workflow. There's just so many lessons to learn from that. But I guess the things I focused on was the choosing margins over profits. There's some things that would, have a $5 profit, but the margin was about 13%. So I'm trying not to use so much math but to complicate things. But let's just say you are uh, putting in $20 into an item that gives you a $5 net profit. What is that? Like a 25% ROI, but it's a
Right.
13% margin. But
Right.
then you find an item that gives a $5 profit, but your cost is only $5. I'd rather choose those products because they have a higher margin. They don't, I only put $5 towards it and I still have another $15 to invest in other inventory.
Exactly. There's less risk in the lower price products producing high margin than there is in the higher price products producing the same margin, right? There's just less. You've got less inventory sitting out there tying up your capital. You can have more units at the lower price points, right? But it's a balance. Yeah, I'd agree. If I have to sell a $200 product to make $5 profit, I'm not as excited as if I am selling a $10 product and making $5. Same $5 profit, but just tied up a whole lot less capital. That's the easiest way to say it. a lot less risk too in that transaction. So
Eh,
yeah, as the cost of your inventory goes up, you do want to make sure that your margins are going up and your profits going up as well. Otherwise, those hard, fast rules like, oh, I never sell anything unless I can make $5. Well, I don't want to turn $500 into a $505 sale. That doesn't do anything for anybody, right? So you do have to adjust. So what's your sweet spot of your pricing? Like, what's your minimum price point you'll sell something for on Amazon, for example?
well, I'm looking for at least a minimum 15 to 18% margin. I don't like going lower than that because I do have overhead to and
Right.
expenses to pay, right? So it has to be above that. But I because of through the years of selling, I built up relationships with a few suppliers, so I do have access to products that have a much higher margin than that, and that's helped me grow and invest in other products and test other strategies. So I put more focus on that margin because now I have more capital to invest elsewhere. I still need to make sure those expenses are paid and keep growing. I'm still working in the business. I do put tape on boxes still, and so I got to make sure I watch everything. But I'm looking to grow and hire people. I think it's about time. There's only so much. I think it's only so much revenue you can get, and there's a certain point where you have to start outsourcing your work. And I guess coming up to this year, did we miss a year? But we're coming up to this year. I've been looking to hire my first VA. So it's
For
come a
sourcing?
long way. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sourcing
So
VAs.
you're doing all the sourcing, shopping, yeah, everything yourself, prepping is your one-man operation, basically?
Yes, a one man operation.
Wow. And we didn't say, like, what were your numbers for, say, 2023, the full year?
2023, the full year, it's lower than 2020, but we've
Sure.
leveled off about I'd say about half. So, three. Well, actually, I have the numbers in front of me. So for my numbers for 2023, combining both marketplaces, 370,000.
Gotcha.
And just so I don't confuse terminology, the payments I received from Amazon out of that 370,000, I received about 200,000. And then minus expenses off of that. So if you let me see if it's gross margin on the 370 is 54%, if I did my math right. And I
That sounds
was
about right, 200.
averaging out the margins of my products, but the cost it averages about 30%, maybe 34%.
So your net take home before you paid yourself on that business was approximately what on 2023?
I paid myself. Oh no, before I paid myself.
Yeah.
Before I paid myself, what I guess I would take that from my balance sheet, right? My balance sheet,
Yeah.
my profit loss.
Yes.
It's just zero. Why? Because I don't. I try to stay. Well, my business, right? I try to minimize the tax liability. I use the money to reinvest into
Oh, you're just reinvesting and
tool,
growing.
reinvesting and growing, right? So it's a I don't know a better way to say it, but it's a $0 profit.
Yes, that makes total sense because you've rolled that cash back into more inventory and growing your business and expanding. Makes total sense. But this is your job, right?
That's
So
right.
like, what income do you have? This, how are you? Help me connect the dots here.
So with my accountant, I've worked it out so that what I'm being paid for covers basic living, but I don't really pay myself extra
Gotcha.
without incurring a tax liability or anything. I really want to focus on growing the business.
Understood. So you're living on a shoestring budget so you can really grow this business. Yeah,
Correct.
makes total sense. What's your goals for 2024? Break down the numbers for us. What do you think's realistic? We're halfway through as we're recording this. We just got into July of 2024. So first half, it's a good time to kind of take a peek at, what happened first 6 months.
Well, for the goals for next year, well, when I got in, did I mention I'm in coaching already? I am a
No,
coaching
I don't think you
student.
mentioned that you're a coaching student. No.
I am a coaching student, and I guess we spoke about well, with me and Nathan, we talked about goals, and at first I had a few goals that seemed a bit too low, but I've adjusted my numbers. I'm looking to hit about 3 million a year. I mean, it seems like a high goal, but I think it's still achievable based on what I know and where I've gone, how far I've gone. So, 3 million, 3 million for a year. I'll have two VAs and one or two private label products. I would like to expand more of my branded bundles, at least 10 to 50. So that's what I'm looking towards.
Beautiful.
Um,
How's the first half of the year gone so far for you?
the first half of the year it's been pretty busy. The actually just after the conference, right?
Right.
This whole month I've been on the phone and taking lots of calls and setting up meetings. It's more than I've probably done in a whole year. I've been really busy coordinating with suppliers and people I've met at the conference, and
Right.
uh, a lot of people are very helpful and want to work and do business together. And it was so beneficial to attend. It was my first time attending the conference, so
Was it? For some reason, I thought you'd been before. 'Cause you look so familiar, but maybe that's just because you've been around a while. But your first one. Well, talk to us about that for just a moment. Of course, we're talking about the Proven Conference. It happened in May of 2024. It's going to happen again May of 2025. The last 3 days of May 2025. That's the 29th, 30th, and 31st of May 2025. That's the next time we do our big event. Theprovenconference.com has details. But so you did your first one. Just talk to us. What was it like? What were your impressions? And it sounds like you came away pretty motivated.
I did, and it's it was great. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I really connected with people
Mm,
doing this business, and at times it can feel isolating.
yes.
And there's just so many, most of the time, actually all the time, I just think about business. So most of my conversations are business. So when I talk to friends and family, it's kind of like, oh, are you talking about Amazon again? But coming to the conference,
Right. Same
coming
here,
to the
man. Trust
conference
me.
is coming to the conference. It just felt like I was just part of the community. I didn't
Yeah.
feel crazy for just thinking about business all the time. And
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
for my
The-
first one, it's a very informational. A lot of great people, vendors, and what do you call that? Meetings, conferences, just the breakout sessions.
yeah. The
A lot of
sessions. Yeah.
great breakout sessions.
Yep. Very good. Well, I'm so glad you're able to be a part of it. And yeah, we're pretty proud of the fact that it's the longest running Amazon seller training conference in the world, longer than even Amazon's been doing it. So well, that's pretty cool. And yeah, the first day, the opening session, the past few years, I've made a point to tell everyone, you're in a room full of 700 plus people, and most of us are introverts. It's like, hey, we're going to give everybody permission to ask our favorite two-word question. How's business? Let's talk about it the whole time we're here. Just talk about it, dive into it, share ideas, share what's not working, what is working. And it's just like I've become fond of saying it's like moving your business forward 6 to 9 months in 3 days. That's what happens at these events. Just to come home with the ideas and the energy and the confidence and the validation. You're sitting next to someone, and you strike up a conversation, and they're a 7 figure a month seller. Just humble, quiet guy sitting there, like, yeah, got a team of 8 of us, and we've been doing this 4 or 5 years, and that's all we do now. Did about 1.2 a month. Like, what? It's just amazing the opportunities that are there. There's people behind you that you can bring along, and they become great partners, or people ahead of you that'll give you tips and strategies. I love it, man. Yeah, it's hard to duplicate it by just watching the videos, although we do love when people check out the videos from the event. But yeah, glad you were able to make it, man. So plans
If
to be
anyone
there
has
again
a
next
chance,
year, I'm guessing, right?
yes, of course. If anyone has a chance to go to the Proven Conference, definitely go and get the VIP ticket. Just being
Mm.
part of a mastermind, you can bounce ideas off, create partnerships. You definitely want to be in a mastermind. If you're not creating your own mastermind, be a part of it, because the community is going to help you out and get into a group.
Yeah, appreciate the shout out for that. That's one of the many benefits of getting a VIP ticket, which sells out every year. And we put you into a mastermind group based on your answers on a survey for all the VIP attendees. And yeah, those are powerful. I've talked to several groups that started a couple years ago, and they're still rocking and rolling. And we launched several new groups this year as well. That's a big benefit for sure. Just to, get in a group of fellow business building warriors, talking about life and business and swapping ideas. Yeah, it's a must. You hear us talk about relationships all the time around here, and that's the way to do it, with intentionality for sure. Well, very good. Well, as we start to wrap this one up, Andrew, I know I've got some plans coming at me here shortly, but I do want to find out from you if there was anything on your list that we haven't hit yet, or anything you were wanting to talk about, questions for me. I always like to give the guest an opportunity for that as time allows. We flew through your story a little bit. I know there's a lot of details, a lot of heartbreak and triumph that we didn't hit today. But it's a compelling story. I think it's going to be very encouraging for others. But I don't want to cut you off if there's anything else that was on your mind
Well, I
today.
did want to share a little bit more about, I guess, improving your margins. Something I've learned over time, and I
Excellent.
made some notes so didn't forget so much. But some things can be more advanced, and other things that just things to take note of when you're building your business. As I keep growing my list of ASINs and adding products from that I find on Amazon using the Keepa data, I'd like to rely on my internal data as well, seeing what products have sold and the prices over the Keepa graphs and Amazon's data, because those are all approximates. They're not the actual numbers. They can get really close to what sales are taking place, but until you test that product and get that sales data, you won't know.
Right.
So as I keep selling more products, it's providing me this internal data that I can use to start looking and testing products that have a key that don't really have a great Keepa graph. They don't really, some of them don't even have drops at all. There are very few indicators that really tell you, is this a product that you want to sell. But with your own internal data, you can look at certain product types, categories. You already have a market price for reference, and you can go in there with confidence and sell products that you might otherwise, the Keepa graph is telling you, why would I even sell this product? But you can go in there with that confidence. So I would put more emphasis on your internal data over just what the tools are saying.
Yes, I completely agree. Some of our best ASINs, our best products, are things that most people would have completely ignored. It's not a great buy box, very few drops per month, maybe a little too much competition, whatever. We're like, oh, yeah, send in a couple test units and bam, they sell. So we send in more. It just takes off. And yeah, Keepa does not have Amazon's internal data. It's just a bit of a snapshot of what the price points are for other sellers. So if you're using that as your golden rule, you can throw out a lot of opportunity. Use your own internal data. I love that tip. Pay attention to what's selling. Don't just let tools make decisions for you. Absolutely. And I always say, if you want to improve your margins, raise your prices. There's no reason not to. If it doesn't
Mhm.
sell, lower it back down to the point where you can get rid of it and learn your lesson there. But start high. When you're testing new stuff, especially, start your prices higher. You'll be shocked what people are willing to pay for fast delivery as your inventory gets spread out. Now, I don't know if that happens so much in Canada, but it's a huge thing in the US, where we've got hundreds of warehouses and people want stuff fast. And if there's a unit near them at a high price, they'll snag it. So start your prices high. That's my improve your margin tip. But yeah, love it, man. What else is on your list?
So for maybe not for new sellers, but for people who have built up a book of ASINs that are selling, and you have extra capital to put towards or to invest into. So if you have extra capital, try a bit of advertising. I've learned this long time ago, maybe almost 5 years ago, I guess, in the Legends group. Just setting an automatic targeting ad for your replens at a low cost will help boost it a little bit. Don't go too deep into advertising, but just set your daily budget really low. For me, I use like a $3 budget, and my cost per click for the US is 10 cents a click. But in Canada, you can actually go lower and still get sales, and I found that improved my margins. For example, I just checked the last 30 days, and I've spent $150 in advertising, and that brought in $5,100 of sales.
Right. Yeah, I love it. The simple, nickel click, we used to call it, across your whole catalog with a daily limit, a few dollar per day daily limit. Yeah. Absolutely. And that's stuff that we teach in the courses and the content in the community. That's those little strategies. And the thing you have to remember when you do that is add your new ASINs into those campaigns as you add new products, because otherwise you'll kind of drift away and forget to add your new products into those cheap campaigns. But yeah, a few dollars a day can really boost your sales. Great tip.
Yes. So in addition to that, not only are you having an automatic campaign for the products that are doing well, and if you really want to dive into the reports, see the products that are converting well, and then look up to set up a few other campaigns. You can, again, there isn't really a hard rule of what you should do, but play around with it. I've been using manual target campaign, targeting certain categories, certain products on my products that are already doing well with advertising, and receiving more sales. So that's how I've been improving my sales with advertising, and keeping my costs low.
On your
There's
replens, these aren't products that are yours. These are just replens, correct?
these are replens.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love it. A lot of times people think pay per click is how you sell your own products. Now you can sell your resale products as well, your replens, because your ads only run when you have the buy box, so you don't have to worry about wasting money. And Amazon's smart like that. When they run the ads, they're only rewarding. And some people have the theory that they give you the buy box a little more often if you're running a paid ad because they know they're going to get paid for the ad. It's a theory. I don't think it's ever been proven, but you can't hurt, especially you set those low daily spends. And we're not going to dive into all the details. Again, we train on this stuff in our content and courses. It's slightly more advanced. I'd say until you have 100, 200 ASINs in your catalog, don't even think about this stuff. But at the point where you're wanting to spend an extra 50 to 100 bucks a month to generate an extra 5,000, $10,000 in sales. Yeah, there's some stuff you can do here. Pretty cool. Good stuff,
Go
man.
into it, wade into the water slowly.
Yeah,
Don't go into it, don't, because it's so easy to just say, well, if I spent this much to get these amount of sales, what if I just doubled it, right? You can run
right,
into that issue, right?
right.
And it
There's
doesn't work
diminishing
out.
returns for sure. Yep.
Let's see. Another thing is, when you are, I guess, using softwares, learn as much as you can from one software at a time, and try to make it work for you. One of the I guess, errors you could run into is if you're getting a software that's going to provide a solution to you, make sure it doesn't create additional problems along the way. Because if
Mhm.
you keep adding more and more software, you may find that you have to be spinning a whole lot of plates.
Yes. Yes. Great advice. Uh, I echo that sentiment entirely. And that's one of the reasons I'm so excited about the system is because a lot of these little, side software tools, you're only using one or two features of this one and one or two features of that one, and you got this Frankenstein system. We're going to get rid of a lot of that. It's going to be, you know, a lot of stuff under one roof very soon. So yeah, I'm sure you appreciate that aspect of it. How many different software tools would you say you've tried in your Amazon selling journey since the beginning?
Oh, since the beginning, I probably tried 5 different ones, but, yeah, I'm very cautious about it. I don't go
Okay,
too
good.
much, and
Yeah.
but it's so easy just to say, "Well, this is gonna solve all my problems for me. Let me just try this."
Hmm.
Very easy to fall into that trap, and you definitely want to be careful when you use the software. Like I said, you could be adding more problems that you didn't know about.
Right.
um, I haven't got into other marketplaces yet, but I was just looking at it. If you are using a software to solve another marketplace issue, just make sure the issues that you have in your current marketplace are already solved, so you don't duplicate your problems when you go into other marketplaces. So if you haven't really figured out your pricing strategies, your the inventory you're going to sell, don't just duplicate the listings and move them over, because you may just you have already duplicated the problems you had from one marketplace into others. So just be cautious with that.
Good tip. Good tip. Nice.
And then I guess for the other one is, take some time in your day to improve on your systems. What's working for you right now, and see what is giving you those results, and improve on that. Uh, Look at your own key performance indicators in your business, where that's moving you towards, and make the adjustments that you need to get you to that goal. So it could be, I guess that might be a little too general, but it could be just how you are, the products that you find or sourcing, right? The products that you're sourcing in the store, there's this criteria that's working. Uh, if it's giving you the results, good positive results that you want, do more of that, but also figure out if there's some changes that you can make and make note of that. So it might be the cost or the profits of the product or the margin you're seeking. Um, Look at those products and see if you can build a almost like an SOP on that, and then other things that combine it to make your own your business system or your there's a better word for it. I think book of business. Make your own book of business and I guess take hold of that and keep growing in that direction. So having your key performance indicators in your business, having it keeping note of that and making improvements that are giving you the results that you're where you're going to is going to help improve for you instead of just taking one thing changing to another thing without really learning those lessons that are bringing you ahead.
Yeah, your business is at enough of a scale now, Andrew, where those little minor adjustments result in a lot more money or less money in your pocket at the end of the month, into the quarter year, right? So yeah, being very methodical about it becomes important. Some people are naturally gifted that way; others aren't. This is where a coach can help. This is where being part of a mastermind group can certainly help. People are asking like, "Hey, so what's your P&L look like?" You know what? I never run a P&L. What are you talking about? It's like, dude, you need a profit and loss statement per quarter so you can know what your numbers are, right? So that those little constant. There's always more to learn. There's always ways to improve every single system. And I studied in college, continuous improvement. The Japanese culture really embraced that in the '70s, which is why they started really tearing up the U.S. car market because they embraced this philosophy of always be improving every little process, always be measuring, know the numbers. What we did yesterday is our baseline. We're going to do better than that. Somehow we're going to find a way to improve constantly. It means you got to document and track. And if you're not documenting and tracking, and if you don't know your numbers, you don't know how you're doing ultimately, right? And some people don't like doing that stuff. But I'm telling you, if you want to get to the scale that you are, running a successful multiple seven-figure business, these are some of the skill sets you're going to have to pick up along the way. That's what it's like to run a real business. It is, these things are needed. You don't have to start there day one, but over time, absolutely. Yeah, good tips, man. Real good stuff. What?
I
Anything else on your list, Andrew?
I believe I've touched on quite a bit already. I might be backtracking, but I guess maybe some of the things I've learned when I guess when I'm sourcing products or I guess when I'm having to compete for buy box and other things, there's some internal data that I use that other competitors don't have or other sellers won't have access to. It's my price, where I bought it, my pricing strategy, my level of risk, and the type of advertising I use. Having control over those metrics for me is what's keeping me ahead of other people who sell on the same products as me. So putting more emphasis on the your KPIs for your business is going to put you ahead over the seller that is could be just scanning barcodes or just copying other competitors' catalogs without really understanding what's driving them to make that purchasing decision and sell on that listing.
Right. Right. Sounds like you're becoming very metrics driven, very numbers driven, which is good for this business. Serves you very well as you scale. Well done, man. Oh, it's been a pleasure getting to know you. I unfortunately do need to cut this off hard cut at this point and start wrapping it up. But it's been cool getting to know you a little bit, and I didn't realize several things about you that I learned today. So I think maybe the listeners will benefit as well from getting to know you and your story. And I appreciate your tenacity. And you shared a little bit of your personal story before we hit record today. I appreciate that, and I just see you as an emerging leader. You're a warrior. You've been through the trenches, and you've come out. You've got a beautiful, profitable, growing business. So congratulations, man. It's a pleasure to work with you and to hear a bit of your story today.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you so much. Well, for those who hung out with Andrew and I today, I just want to make a quick little announcement before I let you go. If you enjoyed this, good news. We've got hundreds of episodes of students who have been through the Proven Amazon course and or our coaching program and built businesses, telling the very real stories, the blood, sweat, tears, risk, work, sacrifice, and the triumphs of what we do around here. And we'd love to have you go check out some of those if you haven't done that yet. Just scroll back in time on our podcast, silentjimdotcom. Scroll back and you'll see hundreds of interview episodes with our students. And we're very proud of that. But on behalf of the whole team that put this together today, thanks for joining us. And Andrew, one last time, man, great job today. Appreciate your time. Thank you for being so flexible today.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, buddy. And all the listeners, hope you join us again next time. We'll have more great episodes of Silent Sales Machine Radio for you very soon.